Yesterday, LSS released their most recent banned and restricted announcement, and I have to say I was waiting all day for the other shoe to drop. I thought for sure that something from Aurora was going to get banned, whether it was Entwined Lightning or Arc Lightning, I have no idea, but I just knew something was going to get banned, and my weekend in Charlotte was going to be absolutely ruined. But thankfully, there were no changes in Classic Constructed. However, there were some pretty big changes in Blitz. We're going to take a look at the article and we're going to break down what those changes mean for your skirmish season. If we take a look at the article, you can see that Traverse the Universe was banned, which does surprise me a little bit. Zephyr Needle also got banned, which really doesn't surprise me. With all of the support from the Hunted, Zephyr Needle needed to go. The craziest one is that they unbanned Crown of Seeds. If you continue to read the article, Brian Gottlieb talks about how this was not an off-the-cuff decision and that they are going to continue to monitor Blitz to make sure that the format is healthy and that everyone's having a good time. But I gotta tell you, I'm very skeptical of this. As someone who played a lot of Oldhim, Crown of Seeds is what fueled our game plan and made Oldhim as crazy as it was. I have said since Terra was released that it felt like he was just missing one small piece to be able to bring his whole game plan together. Crown of Seeds is 100% that card. So for today's video, I've put together what I think Terra should look like for skirmish season. We're going to talk about why Terra is going to dominate skirmish season and how you're going to win your skirmish with your favorite Earth Guardian. As you can see, I named the deck Crown is Back because I'm super pumped that Crown of Seeds is back and we can play it again. I've had mine sitting in a binder forever and I cannot wait to bust it out. For anybody who does not know, Terra is an Earth Guardian hero that says at the beginning of each end phase, if there is an Earth card in your pitch zone, you may pay one if you do create a Might token. I'm not going to lean into his hero ability as much in our deck that we're talking about today because I'm really interested in leaning into the fatigue option and trying to just run people out of cards and really just obliterate people's souls. Crown of Seeds is absolutely busted. Pay one to prevent a damage, put your arsenal on the bottom of the deck, and draw a new card. Crown of Seeds is insanely powerful. If you've never played with it, just trust me, it's going to change the entire outlook that you have on Blitz. Tunic is an obvious inclusion because that extra resource allows us to crown with Tunic and have a 5-card hand, which is absolutely insane. Just wait until you feel the power level of Tunic and Crown together. Gauntlets of Iron Will is an easy upgrade from Crater Fist back in the day with, some warriors running around. This feels like a good inclusion into the deck. We're on such a high blue count that I think Quickdodge Flexors is just an easy inclusion into the deck. You're already pitching cards to Rampart and Crown every turn. You can easily pitch another card, or you can just easily use the last resource for Quickdodge Flexors if you need to. This feels like a great fatigue piece that we're going to be adding to our Terra deck. Rampart is really good. Back in the day, we had to use Rampart to be able to keep up with Pistol Dash. But now Pistol Dash isn't really a thing much anymore. So Rampart is just going to help us block those pesky breakpoints when we don't have a defense reaction in hand. Titan's Fist, it's Titan's Fist. I don't know what else to tell you. It just fits into the deck really well. It attacks for 4. When you get your opponent out of armor and they're at 1, this is taking 2 cards almost every single turn. And that's how we're going to win the game. We have 40 cards in our main deck here that we're going to talk about. First up is Command and Conquer. I really like Command and Conquer. I think it's just it's a really good 2-card hand that really pressures your opponent and can make things very awkward for them. So this feels like a very easy inclusion. I have added all 6 copies of Count Your Blessings. This is an easy 25 to 30 life, I think is what I counted over the course of the game. And our deck is pretty much built to keep us alive to be able to play Count Your Blessings. So even though I'm not a fan of this card, I think it fits really well into the deck. And it just seems like such an easy card to slap in there to be able to make our fatigue game plan even better. Fate Foreseen, it's a really good 0 for 4. It fits into the list. It's really clean. I just like having the 0 for 4 that blocks. We're also playing Oasis Respite. Oasis Respite is going to do 2 parts here. It's really good at covering up breakpoints after we've crowned or if we've used Rampart to pitch a card. And it gains us a life if we have less life than our opponent. And it's also very good because it's good into Wizards, which is a matchup we are really going to struggle into. So having Oasis Respite is an easy auto include in the deck. Shelter from the Storm, this is a no-brainer. If people are playing Syndra or Aurora, this card is an easy extra blue to be able to prevent some of that arcane damage. I really like having Shelter from the Storm in the deck. It's an easy fit into the list, and what we're looking at, Shelter is just a no-brainer. Sink Below, another no-brainer. It's a 0 for 4 that lets us filter. We're not playing that many reds, but if we ever needed to filter to try to find something else, like if we had too many instants, maybe we have 2 Count Your Blessings in our hand and we can't play them both, Sink Below lets us filter and lets us put one on the bottom. Autumn's Touch is a blue block 3 that also has the Earth text, so it works well with what we're trying to do. I like this card quite a bit, and it feels like an easy slot into our list. Brothers in Arms is a card I have not seen in a long time. I played this in Oldham back in the day. I think it's going to work really well with Rampart, Crown, our defense reactions, Oasis Respite. It blocks for 4. I really like Brothers in Arms. This is also a really good card to pitch because this is a 4 block later in the game. This card is so good. It's so powerful. And I think it still fits the bill for what we're trying to do here with Terra today. Disable's a really good piece of blue disruption. Threatening your opponent's arsenal is really solid. Plus, your opponent only starts the game at 20 or less in Blitz most of the time. So having a 7-power attack is really solid because if they take a turn off, you're just like, I'm going to threaten your arsenal and I'm going to throw a bunch of damage at you. Why would we not like blue Disable? It seems awesome. The one of blue Entangle, I think, is mostly just for aggro decks. I had considered putting blue Mulch in this spot, which is still a very strong possibility of something I might do. But I think Entangle fits really well. The disable effect of being able to on hit with the Earth Fuse, just give the -2 is really good. Also, a 2-card 5 is not bad. I mean, I know it's under rate, but in a format where your opponent starts at 20 and they don't want to block you because you're the fatigue deck, this just seems like a really good one of to play around the extra slot that we had from Heart of Fyendal. Fruits of the Forest is a 2-block, but it does have the ability of being able to gain 2 life forests, and it also is an Earth card that works with Terra, and on top of that, it works with Titan's Fist because it costs 3. This can also be just a 2-card 5 if we need it to, and we're trying to pressure our opponent and make their hand awkward, so Fruits of the Forest feels like a very, very easy auto-include in our list. Heart of Fyendal, welcome back. I am so stoked to be playing Heart of Fyendal again. This card is so much fun. I love this card. I know that it's $300 or $400 and some people don't own it, but this card gets you that extra 1% that you need into certain matchups, and I think Heart of Fyendal is going to work out really well in our deck. Imposing Visage is a card that I didn't think of originally, but I've added this interesting aura package into our deck that I'm going to continue to talk about here. So Imposing Visage works really well on turn 0 as giving us extra copies of these auras that we're going to play that can help us block out our opponents or fuel our hand by giving us extra cards. Last Ditch Effort is one of the better fatigue tools that there is in the game. When you have no cards in your deck, this gets +4 and go again. Throwing a 2-card 8 at the end of the game when you have no cards left is very good. So if you stack these and you keep them in the deck, you can save this for the late game. And it's pretty much impossible to fatigue you with this, so I really like having these cards in the deck. Blue Macho Grandes, it's an 8-power dominate finisher. It's just a no-brainer. I don't know why we wouldn't have it in here. Slotting this in just feels like an easy auto-include. It's one of the better Guardian closers that we have access to, so we're just going to slot this into the deck. Seeds of Tomorrow is a card that I've kind of went back and forth on. Because we have Crown of Seeds, why would we play Seeds of Tomorrow? I think Seeds of Tomorrow fits into this list so well because there will be turns when you don't have a defense reaction and you're looking at covering up split damage. So instead of using Crown of Seeds, you can play Seeds of Tomorrow, use your Tunic counter for something like an Oasis Respite or Rampart if you need to, and then still have those breakpoint damage prevention effects that you need to help you get through the turn. So I really like Seeds of Tomorrow. I think this is a good 2 of. It's also an Earth card that works with Terra's hero ability, so I think that Seeds of Tomorrow is a great upgrade that came out of Rosetta. Stonewall Confidence is the first card that fits into this aura package. It does not work with Terra. It does not turn on Titan's Fist, but while Stonewall Confidence is in the arena, cards you control with cost 3 or greater get +2 while defending. There are quite a few cards in our deck that have cost 3 or greater. So looking at this, it feels like a really good card to help us cover up things against Syndra like breakpoints. It also helps us against Aurora, which is just 0 for 4s of the deck. So I really like this card. Being able to tutor it up on turn 0 with Imposing Visage feels really powerful into some of those breakpoint heroes if you ever need it. And I think this is just a good card. Also, if our opponent takes an off turn, we can just put this into play and get so much value out of being able to block over the top. A lot of times when you play this card, you can almost see like the wind come out of your opponent's cells if they had like a break point or something they really wanted to hit you with. So I like Stonewall Confidence a lot. Terra Sunder is just such a good disruption piece. I know that there are so many decks in the game now that have a fridge that they're really looking to utilize, but late in the game, Terra Sunder is a great way to get multiple cards out of your opponent's hand and just really put them on the back foot when you're trying to find a way to close it out. Plus, Dominate can just end the game sometimes. So Terra Sunder feels like an easy 2-of to include in the deck. And Truce feels like another great upgrade from Rosetta. You can actually search for this from Imposing Visage. I double checked to make sure it's not a Guardian Aura. It is just an Aura, which is absolutely awesome. We are basically playing 4 copies of this card on turn 0 because we have 2 Truce and then 2 Imposing Visage to be able to search for this with. Truce feels awesome. It either gives us life or it gives us cards. Either way, it's an absolute win for us, and I love having this card in the deck as it's also just a blue block 3. Looking at our sideboard, I have our 3 pieces of Arcane Barrier here. I like the Boots, the Gloves, and I like Arcane Lantern because that gives us the ability to have AB3, Tunic, and Crown of Seeds, which is really, really solid. I also have Spinal Crush in the sideboard because I think that there are certain matchups where maybe we don't want so many defense reactions, or maybe we don't want this. My first thought was that against like Aurora, we might want to be cutting yellow Count Your Blessings because even though it's a lot of life, I would rather be blocking and trying to disrupt them. So if I have the ability to keep Spinal Crushes in my deck against Aurora to try and make things as awkward as possible for them, that feels a lot better than yellow Count Your Blessings to try and gain some life. Now, there is some argument there because yellow Count Your Blessings could just keep us alive, but I think that the Spinal Crush just fits better over the yellow Count Your Blessings, and it just fits really well into the decks that we want to be blocking against. A 1-of Arcane Polarity is just for the Wizard matchup. I have this as a 1-of. We had 1 extra slot. It was this or a Nothos. I think Arcane Polarity gives us a better shot at staying alive as opposed to having a Nothos in the deck to try and race our opponent. We are a fatigue deck through and through. We are not going to be racing the Wizard opponents. They're going to be able to block. It doesn't really matter. I really like Arcane Polarity as a 1-of. I think this fits super well into the fatigue strategy, and it works against Wizards to give us that extra life buff that we're going to need to stay alive for those big combo turns. Admittedly, seeing Crown of Seeds just triggered everything inside of my brain that was like, hey, let's fatigue everybody with another Earth Guardian. There is a really solid argument to make that you're supposed to use Crown of Seeds like Starvo does as a tool to try to be able to play the mid-rangey game where you're using it for value to block out when needed and set up bigger turns. And you still probably want to play like more Earth cards like Felling of the Crown, Plow Under. Maybe you want to be more offensive and add Pummels. You could also have cards like Flourish for the Might tokens. There's a very good argument that we should be on a more aggressive Terra list with some Earth cards to kind of fuel our game plan. But I'm definitely going to try and fatigue people before I transitioned into that plan. Guys, let me know in the comments down below what you think of my list or any changes that you might make. I'm always open to suggestions. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Take it easy, guys.